I'm happy Vakabasa talked about the need to say there is corruption. Let's not shy away from it. Let's, number one, talk about it. Let's accept there is corruption. Let's take measures to stop the corruption. And what amazes me the most is that the people who actually do the corruption are us. Are us here sitting here. Catholics, Methodists, and other churches. Because it would not be done by anybody else. This country is 98% Christian. Well, I think so. And so the people who are being corrupt, but the point about it is zvangu zvaita. Zvako zvaita at whose expense? And that civic, the ability to say, it is not enough for me to grow and sit there alone. It is more important for the nation to grow, and we grow together. And I tell this to my officials every day. I tell them that they sit in very strategic positions. We just took away the mining commissioners and replaced them with mining directors. And I called them and I said, the fact that you're geologists, mining engineers, and metallurgists does not make you immune to corruption. You too, perhaps in 2 months, will become corrupt. But you need to say, I am young today in the same way as my Sekuru here was young in the 60s. If he had done things that would make it difficult for him to be appointed when the time came. Because in politics, people look back and say, this is what he did at this point on such a day. It is your competitors who do that. So why spoil your life because you want to make an extra $250? And yet you spoil a future that's much greater. And when you're just about to be appointed mayor of Harare, somebody says, but I'm Bamombi. And just that knowledge, just that the information given to our children to understand that they don't live for today, they live for tomorrow. It's more important to build a solid base tomorrow, because tomorrow matters, because it is the basis on which your future generations will be built. So, I'm grateful for my association with Silveira House. Very grateful. I'm also grateful to be associated with the Jesuits. I have no words. I used to, when I was young, we started playing tennis at a very tender age. In a village, you know, when you are in a village, you can't play tennis. But we were given the opportunity to start playing tennis in the late 60s. When I was 10, 11, 12, we were already playing tennis, we were playing basketball. Because of the Jesuits, because of the Marist brothers, we became friends. We used to have what we called the Zimbabwe Canada with Brother Lego, and we would compete for whole days on end. And just that, if it is a bad character, fine, but I think it molded something in me, something that is very passionate about development, something that is very passionate about going into the future. And I hope that the young people here don't take for granted the frameworks, the facilities that we get. Because in other countries, in other parts of the country, even in Zimbabwe, do not have the kind of facilities close to you that you have. So let's be grateful for that, and let's thank God for that. Thank you, and God bless you.
simba naika.
Inga munoziziva kuti kutaura ndinotaura musandichikire.
Anditi da.
Musapano mundichikira.
Alright.
Taura.
Mira.
Ayo kana mchira chompai kufana kuti moyo kusamano.
Alright.
Maika kazaze.
Titambirei. Titambirei. Makadi zvenyu. Sangana ine vaenziwa uya.
Ayo maita zvakanaka mete. Tikukutambirai maita zvakanaka vabereki mauya kupi kumusangano unowu. Sezvo tikakudanai kuti munofanira kuti muuye kuno kumusangano munzwe zvatiri kuita panapa nokuona zvatiri kuita. Zvino isingade kupedzera nguva zhinji regai tinopinda muzvirongwa zvatinazvo. Muri kuona bhuroko riri apa kai ratikavaka kai tasei zvarikaita rakapurasika zvakanaka rakavakwa zvakanaka rakapendwa. Muri kuzviona sei? Zveza mukati muno machati akanaka ekuti vana venyu vapase. Zvinonyaya huru manje rakazokushedzerai mai iyeyo bhuroko kuita mhembe iyi. Ndora toda kuti muone tasei zvarikaita harina kupedza kuvakwa harina kupurasika kuti muwedzere mari yechikoro. Ndakona pano uroko kuti baba
Headmaster Zurema zviita anzwe bhuroko rokutanga. Tishamisa isisi nekuti nyaya ina mapepa.
Oh, zvakanaka. Muri kuona musoro uyu kana ikompyuta iyi ino zvese itablet inobata iyi.
Yati tiri kuona kuti hamuna kumbotipa matunduru akuti ikuru pabiti ndewachii mungori mega ipapa chirudzi.
Okay, maita zvakanaka mama. Vimbe amo kutaura school committee then headmaster ndini tisu na meti.
Vanogona kuona ari kudiwa mapepa ukandotaura hako nomuromo wako tiri kutaura mabhodo.
Hei sekuru, muchina mwana ari kuenda kuchikoro here?
Bodo.
Garai pasi.
Takadzidziswa neSilveira house kudzivirira magakava munharaunda yandigere. Saka pazuva ranhasi pamusangano uno ndaona kunge paita gakava. Imi vabereki nahedi. Saka hamene kuvabereki kuti matadza kunyatsoziviswa zvezvipi nahedi. Amai.
Hedi vari kungotaura nemusoro hapana zvinyorwa pazvakanyorwa pasi kuti tinzwisise.
Amai.
Ini handina kufadzikana nokubatwa kwaitwa baba vechikuru ava. Hedi uya haana zera nababa. Baba vanogadzikwa pasi vachinzi havana mwana ari pachikoro kuzvara kunopera here? Kwete. Ari kuda kuona mukana wokudya mari uyu.
Zvakanaka yamai. Ini headmaster ndangoona hangu kuti dai mangoita chimwe chete nani nevabereki ava. Kuitira kuti chikoro chenyu chisate mhirishonga. Mangona chidziva chine budiriro.
Aiwa ipapo maita zvakanaka amai. Ipapo ndapaona satakuti vabereki takuzosedzera musangano rimwe zuva vamuri kuda vacho vese varipo.
Zvakanaka asi chimwe chechipiri ndaona kunge mashaya ari kudze kuna baba kumberegere kuna baba
yangu nyaya njangu inopera manheru nomwana wangu magumisi ari umu.
Aiwa ofisi makugona kana ukansera waruya aiwa rameno kadaro.
Kosaura kuise nyaya pana.
Hatisi kutomboicheta kuti
madzimai vako nevangu vari kupa huku kumara ino.
Nyadero pana kwaikufamba nakafadza. Zvinokafadza ndikambataka aiwa tapedzera aiwa atamusangane kafadza nako ndakaiketa saka
Kochiko.
Wanonoka.
Rugare. Inini munozva ndiri mwana wenyu. Ndakadziswa neepisi kukansira panoita magakava. Ndokumwe ndaona panapa pane mhirishonga. Chii chiri kunyanyonetsa pano?
Nyaya yekunetsa ndiri nayo yese. Sahwira wangu uyu ari kufamba achiti madzimai vangu vanopa huku dzekumiru vachichinjana huku dzasahwira wangu dzinobva kumiru.
Isusu.
Imi.
Hai baba ndimune hombo hwese tsanangurirei.
Zveshuwa nombo. Nomudakayambwa kumiru.
Tojasadza nenyama. Ndakayamba kumiru. Tojasadza nenyama. Waitora kupika wega wega.
Nai baba ukanda usiku.
Munotamba mkanda usiku muri pambi yerenyi.
Okuba huku.
Ndofunga ana baba amaiona nyaya yedu yabuda pachena. Mamusa mrishonga na babao. Wakadzonya vuma kuti zveshuwa huku ndo ari kuita se vari kuba kuwana amai kuti mubechi chinenge chaiti.
Ushaya na
zviri kuita vamwe hamuzozvikwanisawo here.
kushaya pokutangira.
Aiyo. Yezvo
Mutiripana muri kutaura pamusoro ndatambira foni izvo zvanzi vanhu vaiva Silveira vari kuuya nagauro tivachingamudzei vari kuuya.
Makaona Silveira ichiuya iye.
Vakaona Silveira ichiuya. Totitendera nochakakaita.
Titende weSilveira nechirongwa chawakaiwa chitidzidzisa ndofunga mushamba manga makanyanya kukura dambudziko remhirizhonga asi pari zvino raashoma masabhuku edu madzimambo nemapurisa waakutambira nyaya shoma dzaakungoitika kuburukidza neweSilveira saka pane ino mukana ndakupa waenzi wedu weSilveira watitsika
Kunyararo. Wati kufanana mnenge amukutipfekedza ndaiti botaura nakanzero chiyamedza pasi vachitaura kuti chokwadi kuno nyararo rwako nadienda svikako. Saka tabva nekuwadi 13 kuna kanzera gara tichifamba tichiona zvakuti wati unyararo rwako maprojects ako saka taya kuno kuwadi 27. Asi ndau iripo yatayana chirangano chamukataura cheti mudamboti mutambe wadi 13 nova 27 munoti bhora rinopera pane nyararo here.
Honorable Minister of Mines, Mr. Sidakwa, dear Father Monjoro, Director of Silveira House, ladies and gentlemen, friends and beneficiaries and associates of Silveira House, all protocol observed. I must say that the magic of Silveira House has already worked with me today because I had realized that I did my training at the completely wrong places, but Silveira House to complete that. And secondly, I was really impressed about the marketing professionalism of our MC, so I can assure him whenever we are looking for an experienced and very convincing MC, we get in touch with you and try to compete with Silveira House on that. As the director mentioned, Ambassador Klöckner was supposed to speak to you today. He is at present on holiday in Germany because every year around that time we have our ambassadorial conference. So basically all ambassadors from German entities go to Germany and most of them afterwards spend some time there to relax. So he regrets, of course, not to be here. But he sends you, and he asked me personally also to convey to you his best wishes and congratulations on your golden Jubilee. So the honor and the pleasure to address you is all mine, and I would like to thank Silveira House for giving me this opportunity as Charge d'Affaires of the German Embassy. And it was mentioned, the privilege is mine in you and on the basis of Silveira's House 46-year partnership with the German Catholic Bishops' Conference through Miserio, and also nowadays with its very good relationship with the GIZ. In that context, I would also like to take the opportunity to welcome very much our guests from Germany. I hope you had a good trip to Zimbabwe and enjoyed your time here. Now the summer has come and arrived, and is hopefully here to stay in Zimbabwe. 50 years is of course a great age, and I can say that with full conviction, as I've passed this age not that long ago myself. As for a person as well as for an institution, it's an age where you can look back at many years of experience and achievements, and yet you're still young enough, hopefully, to look ahead for many more projects and ideas to realize. Looking back, Silveira House, I think, can be rightly proud of its achievements and its contributions to Zimbabwe and its people. I won't go into details because this has been done already by much more competent speakers than me. The brief history of Silveira House, founded in '64 by the late Father John Dawes, initially to provide the safe haven for oppressed youth, to discuss issues of concern in society, and then developing also as a forum for leaders and communities seeking to address the political challenges of the time. And from these beginnings, Silveira House developed a need-driven policy of need-driven projects such as labor relations, youth formation, civic education, and commercial skills, until today with the new challenges that we're facing, like HIV, AIDS awareness, civic education and training for transformation. Silveira House and its activities in Zimbabwe thus incorporate the best tradition really of church organization, not only here in Germany but in many places of the world. In my own country, the work of the two major Christian denominations play a really indispensable role in society in many areas, ranging from, let's say, the narrow sense of church work to entertaining hospitals, to charity work, to catering for the poor, the elderly, the marginalized, and the most vulnerable parts of society. And you will allow me, as a trained historian, also to hint at the work and the achievement that churches had in the history of Germany, because it's a very, it's a fact that it's not that well known that immediately, a few years after the Second World War, which brought so many horrors and terror over, not only over Central Europe but other parts of the world, the beginning of reconciliation and the beginning of reaching out to former enemies was a pastoral letter of Polish bishops to their German counterparts in November '65. And that was years before politicians even thought of going that way. And this letter and the answer from Germany that marked the beginning of normalization and finally reconciliation between Poland and Germany many years before political initiatives were to follow. So this is one achievement, one big achievement also that the churches have played in the political field. I'm very pleased that my country, Germany, has been able since the 1970s to support Silveira House and its work in Harare, recognizing its experience and accumulated knowledge in transforming the lives of marginalized people in Zimbabwe and bringing together conflicting groups in many parts of the country. I'm really convinced that the financial means that we put at your disposal to support the work of Silveira House is very well spent, and I'm pleased that we will continue to do so in the future. Again, let me congratulate you on the work that has been achieved so far and wish you all the best for the challenges that lie ahead. Congratulations on your Golden Jubilee, on 50 very successful years, and as we say on birthdays, many more years to come. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, the main director in the house. Whenever he's calling me, forgetting that he's calling himself the only director in the house. Thank you very much. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Michael Hippler. Michael Hippler. The first time we met was in 2012 when he accompanied the newly appointed Director General of Ministerium in Aachen, Germany, who visited Silveira House and many other institutions in Zimbabwe just to see the results of some of their works. And we were very lucky that some of us were coming into office, and we were just a few weeks in office, and they came to visit us, and we established friendships with them. So we've continued talking to them up to today. They've agreed to grace our celebration, their presence as Ministerial, the longest funding partner of Silveira. I think you understand we are saying the longest funding partner. It's not the only one. We have so many other partners which put together from 1964 to today. There are more than 100 funding partners. There is a book that's going to give this record, but we are saying it's the longest funding partner from 1968-69. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Silveira.
Honorable Minister, distinguished fathers, dear guests and friends of Silveira House, so all protocol observed. I have to apologize myself that I do not speak Shona, so please bear with me that I will talk in English to you, but I would just like to be very close to you, so it's really sorry for me. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor for me, and I feel humbled to be here now as your keynote speaker. So I hope I can match your expectations. Before I start, I should deliver greetings. Greetings from our directorate, especially Monsignor Spiegel, who was with me here 2 years ago, and also a lot of colleagues who in some way crossed the way of Silveira House during the last 46 years. And I have even talked to many retired people who still remember very well those encounters and sent me their special greetings. Before I come to words of the immense appreciation and thanks for the results of 50 years of unbreakable fight for the dignity of all people and of work for the marginalized and poor, let me reflect a while on the subline or the subtext of Silveira House, which you also find in this picture of the notebooks and on all the other publications. This is a cedar tree. And the subline was mentioned, in the wilderness I shall plant cedar trees. As an economist, I ask all theologians present for forgiveness that I dare to interpret the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah referred with these words to a time when his people lived under a form of siege, and the leadership was in exile. How comparable to the situation of Rhodesia in the 60s. With his words, he announces a new time. A dignified life will be possible again. This life is being made possible through active men and women guided by God. His words gave his people hope. The cedar tree becomes a symbol for guidance, orientation, and a shadow giver. And this in the desert, a desert of desperation. Isaiah develops a vision. The time of oppression is over. Where injustice prevails, God will show us a way out. And I think this is what Father Duff, I'm very sorry I've never met him, so I did not have the privilege, but this subtitle of Silveira House characterized better than anything its ideal principles and vision. Spearheaded by Father Duff, Silveira House provided shelter for discussions by youth who could not talk freely about issues in their various locations. A lot of people at that time knocked at the doors of Silveira House to seek refuge, to develop ideas and to get trained. We heard about this. In this way, hundreds of future leaders came through these doors in the last 50 years, and some of them, and not only Zimbabweans, got the chance to influence the fate of their countries. It was very crucial that Silveira House tried to bridge political divide at the time and to remain, and still is, impartial. This somehow open program, so there was no planning as today, and without these exact indicators, this planning and this program was not accepted by everybody lightheartedly. Opposition came out of fear to be treated as open opposition, and also, and I should refer also to Miseria, out of fear to support the wrong people. That we celebrate today 50 years is a clear signal that there were on both sides, in Zimbabwe and in Germany, people who could resist and overcome fear. So in one word, courageous people. Today we heard testimonies of people who benefited in various ways from the program of Silveira House. If it was in trade unionism, women empowerment, youth promotion, peace work, or practical trainings, sensitization about HIV or about the environment. Through the testimonies, it became clear and obvious that Silveira House is guided throughout by the social teaching of our church to defend the God-given dignity of every person. The solidarity with people living in poverty, to fight unjust situations and conflict, to give the common good, and to defend the human rights. The Catholic Church and the Jesuit order have played through Silveira House an indispensable role in promoting social justice, peace and development. We are celebrating a story of long-term impact and sustainability through the transformation of the lives of thousands in Rhodesia and in Zimbabwe of today. In 1968, Cardinal Frings made a personal relationship with Father Duff, and he was the first one to promote him from our side. Cardinal Frings is also the founding father of Miseria, and in one of his speeches, or the founding speech for Miseria, he gave us a kind of vision for Miseria. And one of his visions is that Miseria should promote to talk to the rich and the powerful people, to change the sinful structures in the world. And I think if we compare now the vision of Silveira House and Miseria, it becomes quite clear they are very similar, and this is the basis of, and the fundament of our cooperation. We at Miseria are proud to be part of the history, and we are very grateful to the German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development for their assistance. It was expected that Ms. Hoven from the ministry was to be with me and stand beside me. Unfortunately, she had to cancel in the last minute her visit. But we are still very grateful for this unique cooperation between government and a church organization to cooperate with a third partner, Silveira House, in such a way for such a long time. We would like to thank all directors, co-workers and support staff for their work at all levels to make this success possible. And if in the past and maybe in the future we will ask questions, we will query things, and we will make nasty remarks about the future programs, let's be assured we are also guided by the wish to let these principles of Catholic social teaching shine through your work. We cannot just say this story ends here. Therefore, allow me to make a final word on the future. The times are different than in '63. There are new challenges. Challenges of conflict, challenges of climate change, of developing further the participatory society in Zimbabwe and elsewhere, good governance questions, all this comes under a new shape. We hope and wish the Silveira House and all its local and international partners look jointly forward to find answers to the same questions the prophet Isaiah had and the same questions Father Dove had in the beginning. First, who is going to knock on our doors today? Who is in need? Second, what kind of solutions, what kind of ideas are needed today to solve the problem of poor and marginalized people? Third, who are the change makers who act in the spirit of the values of Silveira House I just highlighted before? And fourth, how can we read the signs of the time? If we find together the right answers, then I'm sure we will celebrate another Jubilee of Silveira House. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So on behalf of the Society of Jesus, on behalf of the Jesuits in Zimbabwe, and on behalf of the Catholic Church in Zimbabwe, I'd like to thank the few people who have been singled out among over 1,000 people who have worked at Silveira House. I mentioned Amai Chakaipa, a founding co-worker of Father Dove, and Tete Agnes Mafumo was also among the early companions of Father Dove. I'm told that both Amai Chakaipa and Tete Agnes came to Silveira House in February this year and expressed the desire to be part of this event today. But as we know, they decided to join Father Dove, and they are with us today in spirit with Father Dove, celebrating this Golden Jubilee. I want to mention also Miss Mugwetsi, the longest serving female member of management at Silveira House. We know that she also developed the HIV and AIDS education program. Sisi Rona, we knew her as Sisi Rona when we were very young boys. Miss Rona Mgadza, who worked for a very long time in the civics department. And through her work, she extended the work of Silveira House to Mozambique, to Kenya, and around many districts in Zimbabwe. Sister Angeline Katsukunya joined Silveira House in the early 70s, and she became the leader of the dressmaking and the secretarial sections, ending up as Father Dove's personal assistant. I'd like to invite these ladies, notice it's only ladies who have been singled out, to please stand up. I know that Amai Chakaipa and Tetagnes Mafumo are with us in spirit. They'll also join you as you stand up, and I'll invite your representative to come and receive a little token of appreciation from us. Sister Rona is not around. We also want to thank 10 individuals who have worked at Silveira House for a very long time. For 40 years, Mr. Chicago worked at Silveira House. A driver for a long time. And I want the other drivers at Silveira House to listen to this. No accident in his entire period as a driver here. Maichekerwa, Vatuna, Mr. Masachi, Mr. Chawira, Mr. Marata, Mr. Penny Bruno, Mr. Tembo, Mama Kwembura, Mr. Tandiwana Nyere, thank you very much for your many years of faithful service to Silveira House. And I invite you to stand up so that we can see you, and I ask your representative to please come and receive a gift from us.
I think we should hand this over to Mr. Chicago, shouldn't we? Thank you.
The last thing I have to do is to thank everybody who's gathered here. And I would like to thank you all for joining us today, but perhaps special thanks to the team at Silveira House, the privileged team of 2014, upon whom the task of coordinating this celebration fell. Father Gibson Munyoro and your team, thank you for reminding us